everyone! Today we are going to make a grasshopper texture art, and this is all the things that you need to prepare. So first things first, you need to prepare your worksheet paper, your glue and your scissor, your paint, your brush and your palette, and your blank paper. It can be any paper that you don't use anymore, or if you have a leftover newspaper, you can also use that. And actually there are two worksheets that I need you guys to print. The first one is this, and the second one is this one. Oh, and also don't forget your cup of water because we're going to use paint. And now let's start with our first step. First, let's prepare our paint first. Let's take away all of this so it won't be on your way. Take away some, and then put your palette over here and prepare your cup of water. Let's put a little bit on your palette, just a little bit, not too much, because we don't want your paper to get too wet. So just a little bit. Don't use all of them because we will use some of the water to clean your brush. Just a little bit like this, and then you put each color on your palette. It could be any color that you want to use. If you want to use only one color, it's okay. But I will use 5 colors to make my grasshopper looks more colorful. I will put my red over here. And don't forget to always clean your brush. Take your cup of water to clean your brush. And then next one is, I will use yellow. Don't put too much paint on your palette because we don't want it to go waste. Then dip it or stop. Okay, now that I'm done with my paint, let's put this aside. Make sure that you don't spill your paint on your table or on your floor because it will get messy. Next, prepare your blank paper. I have my blank paper over here, and then we're going to crush it. I'm sure that you're wondering, Miss, why would we need to crush it? Because we're going to use it to stamp. So now let's take our worksheet paper, and then we use this to stamp on it. So it's not about brushing or painting, it's about stamping. Let's take our paint. And because it's a grasshopper, I think I want to use a green color for the base. But any color that you want to use, it's up to you. You can use any color that you want. You dip your blank paper on the paint, and then we start stamping like this. This is the texture of a crushed paper or a crushed newspaper. So usually people would think, Miss, can I paint without using a paintbrush? Yes, you can. You can use any kind of thing or object to paint. It doesn't have to be only using brush all the time. You don't have to use brush all the time. And if you're wondering, Miss, the color is go outside the line, all of it goes outside the line. It's okay because we're going to cut it later. So don't worry if the color gets outside the line. It's stamping anyway, not painting, so don't worry about that. Now, we're not going to use only this. We'll also use our brush because we already prepared it, right? But we're not going to paint on it with this. We're going to stamp on it. It's the same like the crushed paper, we'll just do a stamping technique like this. You stamp, and then later you can see that this is the texture of the tip of the brush. It also has a texture on its own, like this. Can you see? And make sure that you don't put too much paint on it. You need to measure your paint, because if it gets too wet, it will take a long time to dry. You can take your other color, maybe you want to use yellow or brown or blue, red, it's up to you. I want to use yellow and green more because it's a grasshopper. We'll just stamp on it, not too much because I don't want it to be too wet. Okay, I think that's enough. Now I want more red on the wing. Okay, that's how I want my grasshopper to be. Now I will wait for this to dry. While we wait for this to dry, we can start. We have a lot of leftover paint over here, right? Let's take another blank paper and use it to stamp all over it. Here, I have some blank papers over here. Let's put our worksheet aside first. We need to wait for it to dry until we can cut it, because if it's too wet, we cannot cut it. Or if you want to make it dry faster, you can blow on it or put it in front of a fan. You can do anything to make it dry. Now, let's do this. I want to take another color, maybe a blue color, and stamp all over it. I want you guys to make it as random as possible. Just stamp on it. This is the texture of the tip of the brush. And I have another blank paper over here that I won't be using. I will crush it too. I want to take a brown color and stamp on it. So we won't waste any paint, we will use all of it to stamp on the papers. You can use anything to dry your paper. You can blow on it, or we can just wait. Don't worry, we don't need to rush. I have my fan over here. Look, I'm going to dry it. Yeah, you also have a fan. Yeah, you can dry your dress over. It's good, like there's a pool of water over here. You can take a tissue and take away some of the water. Dry, wait. I'm not sure when we use this. What do we use it for? We're going to use it for our next project. I want you guys to make a random sample or random things that you can make with this. So it's going to do this for you guys can make anything that you want. It could be animals, it could be food, something. Don't worry about this one, we're not going to use it today. Let's focus on drying your grasshopper. It's drying enough, and then we will assemble it on our next paper. Okay, I think my grasshopper is dry enough. Now let's cut it together. Take your scissor, then we'll start cutting it. Cut each part of the grasshopper. Be careful, if it's still too wet, don't cut it because you might tear it apart. You need to make sure that the paper is dry enough. Okay, now I'm done cutting all of the body parts. Now let's assemble it. Now we're done assembling it. Now let's take your glue, this one, any kind of glue that you have, it's okay, you can use it, and then we'll glue it all together. Why do we need to assemble it first? because it's important for us to see how it looks like, how the grasshopper looks like first. Because if we don't, we will mess up, like which part do I need to paste, which part, this one, this body part, where do I need to paste it? You will get confused. So you need to assemble it first. You need to see the final result first. Okay, now let's glue it together. We're done with the grasshopper texture painting. If you have some leftover paint, you can paint some more on it. It's up to you, it's okay. And for this art, you don't need to submit right away because it's nearing your mid-test week. So you don't need to submit this, but I want you to keep it because I will need you to submit it later after your mid-test. Okay? And that's all that we have to do. See you on the next lesson. Bye bye.